Hello, I'm so excited that you're here. I'm Leisa Reid, founder of Get Speaking Gigs Now, and I'm going to go through some training with you as a speaker and learn how you can grow your business as a speaker. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we will get this party started. So excited to dive in. Oh, there I am holding a microphone. Always a good tip as a speaker. You want to be doing that. And da, 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 da. Couple of questions that people tend to have when it comes to speaking. One is like, how do I actually get booked as a speaker? How do I get clients as a speaker? And how do I make money as a speaker? Right? Like, how do I do all that? And that's not necessarily questions people say out loud on their Facebook pages or their social media, but they say that to me. They confess those questions to me. So I already know that that's a big question people have in their mind when it comes to speaking. So we're going to cover all that because we're going to talk about how do you get actual speaking referrals in a steady stream consistently. I'll show you my secret. 2 speaking strategies to attract your ideal clients. This is anywhere, even if you're on stage. If you're not on stage, you're maybe in the line at the grocery store. But I'm going to show you these 2 speaker attraction strategies that are pretty cool. And then finally, we're going to calculate your speaking sales potential. This is going to really open up your mind of like what's on the table for you. Have you been leaving leads on the table, money on the table through not getting out there speaking as much? I want to show you how you can actually start to calculate that for yourself so you have a really good idea. Should I be going for this tactic or not? A little teensy bit about moi. Like I mentioned, my name is Leisa Reid. I'm the founder of Get Speaking Gigs Now. I started speaking over 10 years ago professionally. I actually have a master's and bachelor's degree in speech communication, and I taught interpersonal communication at Cal State Fullerton back when the dinosaurs were roaming the earth in the 90s when I was getting my master's degree. But now I teach entrepreneurs how to put their speaking strategy together so that they can get booked. They feel confident about their talk. They know it's ready to rock. They know what to say yes to, what to say no to, how to really utilize their time effectively as an entrepreneur in how they're getting clients in a soul filling way instead of a soul sucking way, which a lot of times we kind of get dragged into doing some soul sucking stuff. And I don't want that to happen to you. Not on my watch. Yes, I've written a book. I'll give you access to that and give you some free goodies. So stay tuned for all that yummy stuff. And I've given over 600 talks in my time here as a speaker on Earth. I love it. It's fun. It's to me one of the most soul fulfilling ways to attract my ideal clients. And hopefully it's the same for you. I really think of speaking as teaching. So today I'm going to teach you some stuff, even though I'm quote unquote speaking. And I find that a lot of my clients really enjoy that. You're probably sitting on some expert information, sitting on some things that could really help other people and make an impact. So why not give your knowledge to the world and let people into your world and give them a little insight into what's going on so that their lives can be easier. And they might say, oh, I really want to work with that person because I like their personality. I like their style. I can feel like I can learn a lot. I learned so much in this short time. Could probably learn some more. So I'll give you access to that too. Yes, these are some photos of me speaking. I highly encourage you to get some photos of yourself if you're out there speaking, whether it's in person or virtual. Either way, doesn't matter. These are ones obviously I had prior to the pandemic, but I have some after that too. You don't need a lot. Obviously, you do not have 600 pictures on this slide, only have 6 or 7. So um, you don't need a whole lot to get started. That's one thing that's pretty exciting about speaking. I haven't mentioned yet, but I did start. Let me actually stop the share here for just a second. I did start my speakers training academy. That's within my Get Speaking Gigs Now company because I work with people for about in a 6-month period because I find that's just enough time to get them all their stuff ready. They got to like work it all through, get booked while they're in my program, which is super duper exciting. We want to make sure you actually can get out there and get booked while you're training with me, because then that's going to lead to some more questions. But it's all about getting ready to be ready to say yes and creating that system that for you creates this easy flow of speaking engagements. Now, how I started Get Speaking Gigs Now and the Speakers Training Academy is because I founded a group, a networking group, many years ago, about 10 years ago, called the OC Speakers Network. And I thought, I don't want to be out there alone networking and figuring this whole speaking thing out. I would like to hang out with other people, learn and give and teach and refer and get referred and all that kind of stuff. So we've been doing that. And then now we've merged with the International Speaker Network. So I'm the CEO of the International Speaker Network now, and we just have this whole huge, amazing, incredible community that reaches all across the world for anyone who wants to join us. So I'm going to give you access to that as well. So all kinds of good stuff coming your way as we move through this training today. But that explains that slide right there. All righty. So let's talk about how would you actually get a speaking referral easily, like it's just dumping over a jar of glitter. How would you do that? How could you do that consistently? And I'm going to share how I started this. And this was totally organic. Many years ago, I found someone who has now I call my speaker soulmate. And I have a few speaker soulmates. You might be wondering, what is a speaker soulmate? I'm going to explain that. Don't worry. This is somebody who could feasibly refer speaking engagements to you, and you in turn would be open to referring to them. Think of it as like your best friend, but in the speaking realm. Okay. And you have a intentional, deep relationship, meaning like you've checked their stuff out, they've checked your stuff out, you trust this person, you can easily refer them with no hesitation, you know they're going to show up, that kind of relationship, right? So those types of relationships take time to nurture and develop. It may not be an overnight thing. That doesn't mean it takes you a long time to meet this person. You just want to move into it with that intention. Like it's a deep trust. This isn't your thousands of friends on whatever social media site. This is literally like that close circle, inner circle. Okay. So what is a speaker soulmate? This is someone who speaks at a similar frequency as you. This is good because you do want that relationship to feel even. You don't want one person to feel like they're giving and no one else is giving to them. It's got to be somewhat balanced, yes? And also, I mentioned this previously, but it's really important that you know, like, and trust this person. So you might know them, not sure if you like them yet. You might be, well, I don't know if you like them, right? So you do really want to have that because this is someone you are stamping your name on, and trust, meaning, are they going to show up? Are they going to provide value? Are they going to do what they say they're going to do? That kind of thing. You want to really make sure this is someone you can trust. And so that sometimes takes a little bit of time, depending on how soon you know each other. Now, the kicker for speaking is then they speak to a similar audience as you, but they're not your competition, right? That's what makes this whole wheel go around so smoothly and lovely, because you are going to be referring them to places maybe that you've spoken, and they're going to refer you, and so forth and so on. I'm going to take a drink of water. Here's a speaker tip. Have your water here. I like using a straw because you never know if you're going to take the water and drink it and then it spills all over you. You don't want that to happen. So just nice to have a straw. So little bonus speaker tip here as I get another drink of water. Okay. So hopefully while I was taking my drink of water, you're thinking of somebody that you could actually contact as a speaker soulmate, because that is your next task. Jot down a couple names, 2, 3 names. Who could be your speaker soulmate? Who's already in your network that you just hadn't even considered? You're like, oh my gosh, I should totally be, um, referring that person. Yeah. All right. I'm going to stop the share for just a second. There we go. We are good to go. Just double checking some tech stuff. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So make sure and jot down a couple names. If you don't know anyone, or no one's coming to mind, a good tip is just go through your, LinkedIn profile, or your contacts, your Facebook contacts, your Instagram, whatever, your Gmail, whatever your contacts are, wherever they are. I bet you'll find at least 3 people that come to mind that you could start reaching out to. And you just reach out to them and say like, hey, I heard about this thing called a speaker soulmate. It's basically, we're going to refer back and forth speaker referrals. Would that be something that would be interesting to you? Now, here's the reason why you would spend all this time to do this. I have not cold called for speaking engagements in over 8 years. And I've spoken hundreds of times. I think I mentioned like over 600, because of my speaker soulmate. It's totally worth it. It's more fun. I don't want you to cold call and cold email and cold apply and go through Google and down rabbit holes only to waste a bunch of your time. I don't think most speakers are put on this planet to do that kind of stuff. So why not make it easier on yourself? Yes, 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 yes. We need to make it easier, because speaking is a soul filling way, not that soul. We don't want soul sucking. We want soul filling, right? All right. So a way that you can do that is, and it's like, oh gosh, let me just introduce you to a bunch of potential speaker soulmates, is at the International Speaker Network, because that's what we talk about. We are here to help each other lift, grow, expand, make an impact. That's what we're all here to do. And it's a great place to meet virtually other speakers. We meet typically on the first Tuesday of the month, Pacific time, 1 to 3, so 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific, virtually on Zoom. Um, you can get information on how to join, but I'm going to actually give you a free ticket right now. So if you go to GetSpeakingGigsNow.com/giveaway, you get, not only do you get a free ticket to the International Speaker Network, you also get a digital copy of my book. Boom, that right there. You get 5 top tips to get more speaking gigs, and you get a masterclass that I've led. Actually, this class was something I recorded in the pandemic, during the pandemic. And I talk about how I booked 50 speaking gigs from April to December 2020. So that's a really good class too. So really, really valuable giveaway package there for you. You can use the QR code or just simply go to GetSpeakingGigsNow.com/giveaway package. Super easy peasy, lemon squeezy. We just want to make sure you have access to all that stuff. Okay, let's talk about strategies to attract your ideal clients through speaking, right? I use this image back here of the peanut butter and jelly because I'm going to give you these 2 strategies. Often I put them together and make a peanut butter jelly sandwich. You can use them separate, but it's nice to put them together. And I'm going to show you how to do that really easily. All right. So the first is share about a client confession, right? And I want you to go back and think in your mind that time, like think of an ideal client, someone you really enjoy working with, or a big problem that you help them solve, whatever. Think of that person. But I want you to go rewind the tape back, if you're old enough to get that reference, rewind the tape back to when you first had the conversation about them engaging with you. They're like, oh, hey, hey, Lisa, I know you help speakers, and I have kind of a situation I wanted to share with you. Maybe you can help me, right? So you're going back to that initial conversation when they confess to you. They confess what was the problem. Okay. All right. So I'm giving you a second to think of that. I'll share one with you in a minute. So that's the first strategy. You just think about like, what did they confess to you? And then you're actually going to add the jelly, turn it into a story. So you're taking that client confession, then turning into a story, which leads you to telling about how you help them, right? Now you can do this without breaching confidentiality. You can change the name, change the time frame, change some of the specifics if needed. You can make it sort of general, but you still want to make it specific enough to where people are like, oh my gosh, that's me, right? Because if this is your ideal client or you help solve this really big problem, you want more of that. You want more of that. Now you can use this tactic if you're speaking on a podcast, if you're speaking in front of a group like this, if you're, like I'm recording something, no one's live here with me today. I'm just recording here, you and me. Um, or maybe you're live on stage. There's all different kinds of ways that you can use this strategy, but you can also use it like at the grocery store. I've gotten bookings from being at a barbecue because I was specific about what I needed. They knew what I did. And we were chatting, and all of a sudden they needed a speaker for this big event. This national, actually global company was giving a talk, wanted to give a talk for all their female employees, and voila, who happened to be at the barbecue? Me. So now let me give you an example of a client confession turning it into a story. So a client came to me, super confident, amazing woman, very intelligent, very driven, very motivated. And she says, I want to be a speaker. And I see all those other people up there speaking, selling their big programs. How come I can't do that? Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, how's that work? I don't even get it. Like, you just go up there and you talk about your program. I'm like, no, there's other things. So what we did is we took her content and what she knew and what she was really, really comfortable with, and created what I call a get your talk ready to rock moment. Like, let's actually get your talk ready to rock so that you give value to the audience, you've got valuable content, and you also lead them to that call to action, right? But in a way that feels really good. She's not super techie, so we need to make it super simple for her to just where she could stay on track, stay on time, and give this content. So the cool thing is her first talk she had in front of over 100 people, which is like kind of a big deal. I mean, that most people don't have their first talk in front of 150 people, but she did. And she was able to deliver it with confidence and actually sell from stage for the very first time and put people into her program. Now, that was pretty cool. Now she's super confident. She's since changed her company. This happened a few years ago. She's changed her company. Now she gives talks all the time. She knows how to get her talk ready to rock. She doesn't need me because we went through the formula. She learned how to do it. It's super cool. So when people work with me, usually about 6 months is our speakers training academy time. It gives you enough time to like put your ideas down on paper, quote unquote, digital paper or PowerPoint paper, whatever that is, and create your strategy so that you're all set and ready to go to be a speaker, to be out there, to get booked while you're in the program and move through all those motions so that you're not wondering, what if, how should I don't know, am I good enough? All that stuff can dissipate and you can get out there and actually start attracting your clients. So pretty cool stuff. Okay. Here's another client. She was able to create $18,000 in instant sales, no strategy calls needed, because of confessing to me that she was having this amazing event. Everyone was so excited. She had this event several times. She would get tons of positive feedback, but the sales were really low. And she's like, what am I missing? Like, what is going on? What am I missing? And so we were able to go through her agenda and with some tweaks. I mean, we're not even talking about major, major, major things. She just needed to tweak a few things and was able to get $18,000 in instant sales. Click the button, people buy. That's amazing, right? So if you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm getting all this positive feedback, but no sales, something's wrong. There's a hole in the boat. We need to fix it, right? We need to patch the hole. It's not you. Okay. There's just something going on in your strategy that's not working. That's okay. But that's what I do. That's what I help people with. And I love it. Because I feel like if you are called to speak or you're thinking I should be doing that, or I'm really a natural speaker, I've always dreamed of doing that, then you should be, right? Like that's something you should be listening to. Your soul saying, yes, that's a gift that you have. Not everyone has that. Not everyone gets that calling, but something going on that's saying for you, that's your thing. So we got to make sure you have the tools to do that. Okay. So let's talk about calculating your speaker sales potential. This is something, gosh, I wish I had learned this a long time ago. And a formula that I created myself, I call it the speaker monetization formula because it's really simple. Don't worry, not even though I say formula, it's pretty easy math. I want to make this easy peasy lemon squeezy for you. A lot of times we get, let's say, seduced by things out there in the marketplace, like do this Facebook ad, you're going to make $1 million, and do this simple thing, and it always is not always that simple, right? So what's nice about speaking is that, honestly, I mean, if you have a laptop, it'd be nice if you have a webcam and a microphone. Most laptops have that already, but nice if you upgrade that a little bit. You can pretty much be doing this. Like, you don't have to have a PhD. You don't need it. It's not as complicated as some other systems, right? Speaking is an easy peasy way to get started. And there's a nice level playing field there. So you just need to have the courage to do it, right? And you need to get your ducks in a row. So the first thing in the monetization formula that we talk about is your price of your product or service. I want you to think about that. I'm going to give you examples too. So I'm just going to explain the formula. I'm going to give you some examples. Then we're going to have you plug your own stuff in. So don't worry if you're not quite getting it just yet. It's the first time you're hearing it. It's okay. I want you to think of the price of your product or service. Maybe pick one. You probably have multiple products or services, but pick the one that you sell the most of, or the one that you wish you sold the most of, whatever that number is. If you have like a residual business or like insurance or something like that, maybe what was that annual, what's the annual amount that client is going to bring in on their first year, average. Obviously, it's going to depend on lots of factors. So sometimes you just need to do an average, but think of the money that's coming into your account from one client. What would that number be? Either the initial sale, or if your monthly residual stuff, then due for the whole year. Then I want you to think of the number of speaking engagements you feel like you could do each year. Most of my clients through the Speakers Training Academy, they book anywhere from 12, 24, 36 times a year. So that's once, twice, or 3 times a month. That's a very healthy, reasonable, doable amount. And there's not a right way. It's really a matter of like, well, what fits into your life? what's your lifestyle? What do you want? Some people love to travel. Travel's no big deal. They'll just hop on a plane, no big deal. Some people, I personally love speaking virtually. So that allows me to do a lot more, but I don't have to go anywhere because that's not really what I desire. I like to travel, but for vacation, not necessarily for speaking, which is a total personal choice. But some people love it. It's all good. You decide what you want to do. Okay. So when you think about that number, would I do 12, 24, or 36? And what kind of engagements we're not going to get too into that right now, but I just want you to get clear on like kind of your framework, right? Like what would make sense? Now I want you to think about the number of clients that you think you would be able to attract at that gig. So imagine you've got your talk ready to rock because we've worked on it. We have your call to action clear because we've decided that together. We've collaborated on that. You know where you should start looking for speaking engagements because we've decided on that. We figured out that strategy. You've got your clear yeses and nos. This is what I'm looking for. This is where my potential clients might be. Here's my monetization. But like all these things have been figured out. And so then you've got your slides ready to go, you've got everything ready to go, you're all dialed in, and you give your cool knowledge, your valuable content, all that stuff, right? So how many clients do you feel like you would be able to attract having all that stuff in place? That's the dream. That's the where we're at. Because I know that's where I get my clients. So I'm like, come along with me on this dream. All right. So let me give you two examples. Number one example, again, simple math, very simple. Let's say you have $1,000 product or service. And this is just like that initial buy. You might have other products or services that they buy, but just like the initial one. We're not going to go into like what potential life sales. This is not even counting that. It's just like the initial sale. You speak 24 times a year, so that's twice a month. That's very doable, feasible. I mean, how do I know? Because I've been doing this 10 years and I used to speak 70 times a year in person. So 24 virtual. Oh my gosh, that's like so easy. Okay. 24 in person, easy too. Let's say you attract 2 clients at each gig. So that would be 48 clients a year at that $1,000 rate. If we multiply those together, you get $48,000. Okay, so this is giving you an idea of that potential, that speaker sales potential. And I share this with you because a lot of times people get distracted with like the keynote fee or the speaker fee, or I'm speaking for free, or I'm paying to speak, or whatever. There's all these different models out there. One of the things that I like to make sure my clients are is that they're super clear, that you are clear on your yeses and your nos. Like, am I speaking for free? Am I getting a fee? Am I somewhere in the middle? Am I paying? Like, why? What? I don't know. That's what we need to make sure you're clear on so that you know this makes sense for my business. So the more you're hesitating and not able to make decisions, the slower it takes to get clients. We want to make sure you have that quick decision making ready to go. Okay, example number 2. Let's say you've got a $5,000 product or service, 24 speaking gigs. So same amount of gigs. Let's say you only attract 1 client. Like I work pretty intimately with my clients. I do have a lot of people join the International Speaker Network. So that's a little bit of a different model. But for my Speakers Training Academy, I work with 10 clients at a time. So I don't need a ton of clients, right? I like to work with a small, intimate group of people. Once I have an opening, great, somebody else can come into that. So for me, this is perfect. So let's say 1 client at a gig, that's 24 clients a year, right? Let's say that's a whole total of $120,000. Okay, which is a great model for a lot of people. Like that's a 6-figure business right there. And imagine that's not counting any of your other marketing tactics or strategies that you're using. This is just, what if you were able to just do the 2 speaking gigs a year? Or 2 speaking gigs a month. That's your marketing strategy. And that feeds you to have that 6-figure business. That's amazing. And I am talking about freedom, y'all. Like I'm not a burn the candle at both ends kind of a trainer or mentor or coach or consultant, whatever you want to call me. Let's help you have the life you want to have. If speaking and teaching is fulfilling to you and sounds exciting to you, I'm telling you, this is a great way to start looking at things. And there's so many things. I'm so excited. I'm just even thinking right now, like all the cool things that you could do. So here's the formula one more time, same formula. Just now we're like going to fill in the blanks here. So you would put just write it on a piece of paper, your product or service, what's that price? you'd put the 12, 24, or 36, just pick one. I don't know, like you're going to speak once, twice, 3 times a month. It's just your best guess. You're just setting out those goals, setting out those intentions. And then how many clients do you think you could attract at that? At those gigs, if you have the talk ready to rock, if you know how to monetize, if you have your clear call to action, you know what groups you're there to be speaking to and why and how to talk to them to get booked and easily, and you have those speaking referrals going. I mean, this is a machine that can just run for the rest of your career, right? And then calculate that speaking sales potential. You just multiply, boom, 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 multiply them all together. Then you've got your speaking sales potential. Sometimes I have clients who have a very high number here. All right. And then you're like, wow, oh, even if I just did half of that, I'd be happy, right? Like, oh, even if I did a quarter of that, I'd be happy, right? So this is a nice conservative way to start looking. What's going on? Are you leaving some money on the table there? Yeah, it's pretty cool. Okay. So to recap what we talked about, the number one secret to a steady stream of speaking referrals is having that speaker soulmate. Okay. Next, we talked about the peanut butter jelly approach. How do you attract your clients you're speaking? Match a client confession with a story. Put them together. You got your peanut butter jelly sandwich. You can share that at parties, at the grocery store. Obviously, if it's appropriate, someone asks you, don't just start sharing it randomly. But you can share that at a podcast. You could share that in a talk. You can just have those stories ready to pull out as needed. Okay. But it's an intentional, interesting story that builds your credibility, builds your authority, and it's interesting. It sounds more enticing, and people are going to be leaning in to hear that story versus this is what I do and this is how I do it. No, they don't care about that. They want to know about the person. Who did you help, right? And how did you make that happen? Like what was going on there? You want people leaning in. Finally, we did the speaker sales potential. You calculated that. Hopefully you came up with a number that you like. If your number's not as high as you want it, we probably should have a conversation and see like what's going on with that, because there's a big hole in the boat there. Okay. So excited that I was able to spend some time with you today. And I want to be able to give you an access to my calendar so we can talk further. If you're picking up what I'm throwing down, we should have a conversation. This is access to chat with me, to talk about the Speakers Training Academy, see if this is a good step for you. If you are wanting to speak and you're not doing as much as you want, and you know you should be doing it more, or you could be doing it more, but you don't know how to get started, we should definitely talk. If you have already been doing some speaking, but it's not quite going the way you want it to, we should definitely talk. It's not you. Trust me. You're amazing. There's just probably a few tweaks we need to make. And that's what I love to help people with. So that you can go and do this confidently for the rest of your career as long as you want. You could just go out there and keep speaking. So you just apply at GetSpeakingGigsNow.com/chat. That's GetSpeakingGigsNow.com/chat. Super easy. Or you can take a QR code little photo thing there of that. Hold your phone up. You know what I'm talking about. And I will look forward to talking with you. I cannot wait to hear about your speaking journey, where you want to go, where you've been, what's been holding you back, and how I can best support you. Again, I'm Leisa Reid with Get Speaking Gigs Now. It's been super cool, super fun hanging out with you. And I'm looking forward to meeting you very, very, very soon. Take care. Bye.